I just want to help people make better decisions in life. That's my goal as a coach, as a teacher, as a parent. Hey, please just make the right decision because, you know
the ones that you can live with long term.
Yeah. Well, a bad decision could be the end.
Tulsa Talks is the podcast that is inspiring people to have everyday meaningful conversations to gain perspective and help the world.
Welcome to the podcast, Gerald Harris.
What's up?
Thanks for taking time for us today.
Yes, sir.
You are a fighter.
Yeah, in many ways.
Yeah, and you inspire people to fight, and you hope that you can continue getting them into the fight of life and encourage them to continue.
Definitely.
You shared something with me that was tragic.
Yeah.
Lately.
It's kind of crazy. Wrestling, everything with me started with wrestling. So that's kind of where I learned the word adversity. Adversity is, the test of a person. And my coach taught me that in college. So, I faced adversity all my life. I just didn't know the definition of it, But in my teenage years and throughout college, I grew up a lot and learned how to face some really hard times. And one is now, definitely. So
can't imagine.
Yeah, that's. I've lost students before, athletes, and it's been car accidents, it's been cancer, things that happen.
Right. Yeah. Uncontrollable.
Uncontrollable. Yeah. Beyond our control. But for the two students I lost was to suicide, which is something that is, I don't want to say it's overlooked, but as parents at times we could underestimate it, and then we're all in shock when it happens. And these two were definitely shocking. So,
where were their life trajectories, just from an outside view?
I would say two totally different life trajectories. So two different shocking results. One was one of the happiest, goofiest kids on the team. She was a captain. She was a leader. And then the next thing you know, boom, she was gone.
No warning signs.
No, well. Unfortunately, she was posting on social media about it, but she was so friendly and people laughed at it, almost the hearts and the laughs, and the girl, you silly. And she really did it 2 days before Christmas. She was 13 years old. And then just recently, about a week ago, a little over a week ago, one of my athletes decided to end her life as well, not too long after working out with us. And she also posted on social media that It's Too Late, I'm Already Dead is a song she posted as her title. And something, I don't want to just use wrestling as an example. It wouldn't be fair to football and basketball. The sports community is family. You're going to be, just like family, I'm closer to some cousins than I am others. But at the end of the day, we all got each other's back. We're going to look out for each other. And when something happens, I'm going to be there for you. And the wrestling community has come together. There was hundreds of people at her balloon release. We've gotten tons of messages. I'm just a coach. My pain is uncomparable to her parents and siblings. I lost my brother in 2009, motorcycle accident. My mother hasn't been the same ever since. So she could sympathize with them a little bit. But what helped us the most throughout all this is all the support that they've gotten, which, and it don't got to be money. It don't got to be you physically helping with something. You could simply walk up to them, give them a hug, and say, hey, my condolences, I love you. And if you need anything, I'm there for you. You might brighten the day up a little bit.
Yeah. I had a brother that died 16 years ago myself, car accident, peculiar situation. Yeah. But my mom still struggles with it from time to time.
Holidays, birthdays, anything that reminds them of her. And this is, I say this story, and I don't want to sound mean, but I was just like, why? I asked my mom, why does it hurt so bad? Like, what, why, not get over it type thing, but why does it hurt so bad? Like, it hurts. And she said, and no child is more important than the other one, but in her memories, she says, he was my first everything. So it was her first baby. It was her first baby bump. That was her first walk, her first talk, her first, and I'm just like, every kid's different. Your middle son, your baby daughter, whatever. But yeah, she said that was her first everything. So, that was her, reasoning behind it. Every one is obviously different, but
Sure.
she just says it's a pain you don't want to ever feel. No parent wants to bury a child.
Yeah. Tragic. How do you help your team get through it? Maybe not over it. Hopefully not over it ever, because over it's almost like forgotten and done away with, and nothing learned with and from. And
how do we cope?
How do we cope? How do we go forward?
The timing of this, if there was a time, there's no such thing as a perfect time for a death, but it was an accurate time, because that following week we had a camp. Camp is fun. You play games, you wrestle, but the main thing about camp is we talk. We talk about their lives. We talk about God. We talk about, suicide prevention. We talk about all things. I openly talk to the kids about things that happened to me when I was young, and it helps them. They look at me like a hero, and then they saw a chink in my armor and was like, "You too, coach?" You know what I mean? So for them to be able to relate to me, it helps. They know that they're not alone, because they could look at me and assume that nothing's ever happened to me. And, I'm an open book with these kids, and it helps them, get through the hard times. So I've got some kids with some really hard times. I got kids who have amazing lives, so.
Hard time kids at Union?
Oh, yeah. We get them all.
It's just a bunch of privileged people.
No, it doesn't matter. My son actually went to Castle Hall, and he was actually had a suicide attempt, and it could have been from stress. It could have been a lot of things.
Had a friend with a suicide attempt?
No, my son.
Himself?
Yes. He actually openly came on social media and wanted to warn other kids about mental health and how to live, and don't do what he tried to do. He was, if he wasn't so healthy, he would have been successful in his attempt.
How old is he? Or was he?
He was 18, senior in high school, 4-time state champion, nice looking kid, going to Castle Hall, got a car, and that's not nice, but you assume like he good.
Got it going on, forward, yeah.
But internally something was torturing him. And he dealt with those demons, and he did have a legit suicide attempt, and which shocked everybody. And,
including Dad?
Oh yeah. I was in the hospital with him, with a doctor. And they were saying, "Hey man, you almost died if you weren't so healthy." And I stepped out. He asked me to step out, and then when I came back, they told me. So, it's scary. It is scary.
How is he now?
He's good. He actually got a full scholarship to Brownsville, the University of Missouri. This is before he became a 4-time state champion, about a year before. Just recently in February, became Oklahoma's 49th 4-time state champion, which is a huge honor in itself.
So he's graduated this year?
He graduated in May, just past May. And a week later, he was in summer school. He wants to be a doctor. But with all that being said, he can have someone in his office dealing with depression and say, "Hey, man, you looking at me like I'm Superman. I went through depression, too. I like the fact that he can relate to some people and not say his life was always good. You know what I mean?
That's tough, man.
Very tough.
That's life. Bottoms do occur.
They do. So how do you move forward?
Yeah. How do you reach out for help?
Yeah. We always say, I say this, and I wish I had another way of delivering the messages, but it's true. You got to find somebody you can talk to, find somebody you can trust. Some people talk to God, some people talk to their friends, some people talk to their pets. You have to have a release. I'm the type of person that held everything in. From the age of 12 and up, I just held everything in. And that's not good, It may come out at the wrong time. So I learned to open up, release, and it's human nature. You can't bottle things up, It's gonna come out.
Either intentionally or potentially erratically?
Yeah, and you don't want it to do. And then now you're misunderstood. Because everybody thinks that, you're overreacting to a situation, but they have no idea what's going on inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people, leave people alone. Don't mess with nobody. You don't know what they're going through.
Don't back them in a corner?
Well, not just that. Leave people alone. You don't know what they're going through. You may be that tip of the iceberg for somebody to not want to live anymore. Or you could be the blessing that makes them keep going. I had a kid tell me, "Mr. Harris, if I didn't talk to you, I wouldn't be here today." And I was like, wow, I didn't know that. I was just being encouraging. You know, you never know whose life you could change, positively or negatively.
Yeah.
You could tell somebody they ain't gonna never be nothing, and they believe you and become homeless and a drug addict. Or they could do the total opposite. So, but I don't mess with people. You leave them alone. I want to help and encourage as many people as I can.
Yeah, yeah. And you're saying leave them alone. I think you might not mean leave them alone.
Don't bother them.
Don't pick on them. Don't try to back them into a corner. Don't discourage them.
Yep.
Do bother them to a certain degry, or do interact with them to try to encourage them, leave them alone.
I want to lift people up. Don't bring them down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So you are a wrestling coach, a girls wrestling coach at Union.
So here's the funny thing is, I had my first child. Well, I didn't have anything. I'm not pushing no babies out. My son is 25 years old now. He was born in 2006. And I was a young dad. I was 19. I was 20 when he was born. But I didn't have my first daughter until 2010. I've been coaching girls since 2004. I moved to Florida, got my first coaching job out of college, and nobody wanted to coach the girls. I was like, I got sisters. I'll do it. You know, I got a big family. So I could relate to them. I could talk to them, and they won state title that year. So a bunch of national All-Americans. I had a national champion, and I was like, this is fun. The boys are always going to be there. I coach boys and girls, but to me, girls are the minority. I love that underdog type mentality. So it's been a long 20-something years. Girls wrestling is the world's fastest growing sport.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is. But also, I have 6 daughters. So now I really have a reason to be in there. I have a foster daughter and I have another child that's adopted. But
girls wrestling is like high school, collegiate, Roman Greco? Is that what they call it?
No. So high school is folk style and then college is freestyle. So I know it's really hard to explain. I will say this if you want to explain it. In high school, folk style is an American style of wrestling that nobody else does. After that, it's Olympic style.
Okay.
You know, they don't really do Greco for girls yet, but they will eventually.
Okay, cool. So you did that in Florida for a little while. Now you do it
2 years in Florida.
Center of the United States, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Well, I'm born and raised here. Graduated from East Central. But I went to Florida the 2 years Katrina hit, and the other one, it was back to back. And I was like, yeah, I'm out. That was enough. 2 hurricanes. Not having power for 2 weeks, I mean, I was done. So I moved back to Tulsa.
Yeah, let's see. That was Katrina hit New Orleans.
Like
Rita
05, 06.
Hit Houston, Beaumont, and then Wilma hit Florida like within 2 months that year, 2005.
It was like a hurricane season.
Yes,
literally. That's
big time.
It's my fight nickname, which works in Oklahoma, but in Florida, they wouldn't really like it too well. That nickname sucks.
So you have Hurricane what on your
training
shirt?
Center. This is my gym. I did not wear this on purpose. I just
happen to have it on.
Yeah, well, I go to the gym at about 4 o'clock in the morning, get cleaned up, get set up, and but yeah, it's well, you know, to be honest, it's been a failed attempt at once. I went bankrupt in 2017 from just my gym kept growing, and then I got a building that was too big, and the numbers didn't show up. So I tell people my story all the time. They see me now as very successful. The gym is. I say, hey, I was bankrupt, you know, 8 years ago, and they're just like, really? I'm like, yeah. You know, I made a lot of mistakes financially. My heart was bigger than my head, and I paid for it. So, but I love it. I just resigned from teaching school after 21 years in the classroom. So I just coach, like you mentioned earlier. I'm only the coach for the girls, and I run the gym. I just like working with people. I love working with people, and that's a job I feel like computers can't take. So I want to just keep doing my gym.
Yeah, so you still work from like 4 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night with a brief break in the afternoon?
Well, now I don't. Now I create my own schedule. So if I need a nap, I can take one. Can't really take one in class. You get in trouble. But
I mean, you told me that you have the afternoons filled a lot during school season.
Yeah. From the time I leave the gym, which is about 4:30 until 9 o'clock at night. But now that me resigning from education, I have that from the morning until I go to school for to not be in the classroom. which is draining, physically draining, mentally draining. Teaching is hard. A lot of people underestimate it.
Just standing up there talking.
In front of 30 kids. Some people can't handle their own 2 kids at home, and I got 30 of them in there.
Yeah. What age did you teach?
High school. That was it. I did middle school once. It was all right. I taught, my last 2 years, I only taught seniors.
What subject?
Well, it's kind of cool that you asked that. I've been teaching history and criminology for the past whatever years. My last 2 years teaching, my biggest knack as a coach and as a teacher is I get the worst behaved kids to work. That was my thing. And they would bring them to me. Hey, this is so-and-so. He don't want to do nothing. 5 minutes later, he's over there working at a desk for me because we had a good conversation. So my last 2 years at Union, they gave me an amazing job. I got recruited from the high school, and they're like, we need this guy because they have some of the kids with the most disciplinary issues would come in my room and be like, yo, Mr. Harris. Boom, respect out the door. Or I knew their parents or, anything. But, I only taught seniors to graduate. So if you had a kid, I believe it's 23 credits to graduate. I might be wrong. I forgot. However many credits it was to graduate, if you were halfway there, I helped you get. I had kids that dropped out. And that's a shout out to alternative school, Mr. Ducker. I was just texting him a minute ago. My son dropped out of high school. My oldest son dropped out of high school. And I got him into the program that I now works for. So for the past 2 years, I've graduated a bunch of kids that shouldn't have graduated. Dropouts, skipping school, and the school gave them a second chance, and boom, got them graduated.
But now you don't have to do that, and you don't get to do that.
No, I loved it. The kids love me, but it's very emotionally draining. It's a lot of work, and I'm tired. So I chose the 2 things that I love the most, which is running my gym and coaching the girls. And that's it. No third job right now.
Yeah. And why are you so focused on fitness and wrestling? What's your background?
So wrestling,
what happened in your childhood to really push you into this for a career?
I would say I had a tough childhood. It wasn't great, it wasn't perfect, but wrestling was my getaway. I grew up out north. I grew up in some tough neighborhoods, but wrestling was my getaway. I didn't have time to run the streets because I was at practice. I didn't have time to party on the weekends because I was at tournaments. So wrestling was my getaway from everything. And I know that there's a lot of kids out there who need a getaway or they're going to be in trouble. And that was it for me. So that's what wrestling did for me.
Took up a lot of time.
What's that?
Took up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of energy to do that.
Mm-hmm. And as a kid, you don't know that. But as I grew older, even to this day, I don't go out much. I like to stay home. That's partially because I work so much, so I get to take a nap.
Yeah. How old are you, Gerald?
I'll be 46 in November, so I'm 45, but 45
Kids?
Years old.
You say two sons?
So my wife and I have 8 together.
Wow.
Blended family. We have 2 adopted and foster kids, so it's 10 total.
Wow.
My oldest is moved out. My second oldest is in college, and one of our daughters is a college national champion last year, undefeated. So
wrestling, I
undefeated,
guess.
Yep, collegiate champion. So, but yeah, 10 total basically.
Wow.
Counting the foster
What a
child.
Full house.
It's a full house. There's people sleeping everywhere. I can tell you that. And so it's pretty cool though.
Y'all live in the Union School District?
I actually live, so I used to work in Broken Arrow for a little while, so I lived in Broken Arrow District, but if you throw a rock, you're in Union District, so it's close. So my kids just kind of follow me, obviously, wherever I go.
Yeah. You enjoy interacting with the kids, but then you have had 2 tragedies that you've had to deal with of suicide.
Yeah.
And you didn't see it coming.
Absolutely not.
How could you see it now? I mean, it happened twice. How could you see it? Could you see it?
It's scary because I've had students who would jokingly mention it, and it's like, what do I do? They're like, you can't. I tell them, don't joke. I got to tell on you. Because if you joke about it, like the young lady did, you do it, I'm in trouble. Well, she told coach, and I blow it off, and then some people will do it for attention. just threaten someone to do whatever. But it's really hard to explain the unimaginable. It's really hard because nobody knows there was no letters left behind. We don't know what led them to that point. I just know I don't want to witness it again, not from a selfish standpoint, but from what the pain I see in these parents, man, is just, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that I'm not a grief counselor.
Yeah. And I couldn't imagine you're taking everybody's pain on and then you got to go home to your own wife and kids and family. So,
yeah, every day.
Every day, so I've actually always fought therapy, but I'm going to do it. My wife said, get your butt in there. Because I'm a grief counselor indirectly, So even with my own issues, I pack everybody else's on so they can lessen their blow. But just to give God gave me to be able to withstand a lot.
Yeah. But there's breaking points. And we might not know where that breaking point is.
I don't want to reach it.
Being macho, being the man.
Yeah.
The man that can stand a lot.
I definitely don't want to reach a breaking point. That's just, who knows how you'll bounce back from that, Some people break and that's it. It could be whatever it is. They commit a crime, they hurt themselves. But no, I wouldn't want that I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
No. If you had one thing to share with people that might not know who you are or how you help people.
I'll repeat something that my friend said when his daughter passed away just recently. He said, listen to your kids. We sometimes tune our kids out like they tune us out. And I'm not speaking for everybody, I know, but I've caught myself kind of, if they say something a little serious, listen to your kids. It may sound cliche, but it's true. I'm not saying you want to catch the warning signs, just in general. Kids seek attention. They like attention. And just make sure you give them positive attention, reaffirmation, support them. I mean, I'm being cliche and cookie cutter, but I'm being honest because a lot of parents will lack in that area. So, I think.
But how do you encourage them to continue and acknowledge them at the same time? Because a lot of people that I know or that are in their 20s and 30s, I don't know many high school, but a lot of them, they'll ball up in a corner and just not do anything because of the emotional wreck that they are. And
that's kind of how I explained myself for a while. I would every time I got upset, I would go to that dark place, that corner where I felt safe and just, hide from the world. But the sun's going to rise no matter what. So I tell people all the time, live life to the fullest, live every day to to the max. And, time is something in life that we won't ever get back. So utilize it. We're all put here for a reason. I'm a true believer that, God will never throw anything at you that you can't handle, no matter what it is.
Or that he can handle for you.
Yeah. Well, and people say, there's always somebody doing worse. I don't always believe that. There's definitely somebody doing really bad right now. But at the same time, we all have the same equal opportunity, the same support system. So, that's just my main focus on that.
Yeah. Yeah. You and your people have a strong support team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Super strong. I mean, between the parents, the kids, the athletes, friends, I mean, I smile thinking about it because when I need something, all I got to do is put my little Batman signal up and my people are coming to support me. So
other people that aren't part of a community are not doing something with others, don't have that community that you guys have.
Mm-mm. It's a tight community. You're there for them, they're there for you. And you'll be tested sometimes. So you got to be prepared.
Yeah. So make sure you pay attention to your children and you help them all that you can.
Listen to them.
And that you're part of a community and that they're part of a community that can help support you when you have a hard time. And don't pull back. Don't hesitate to ask for help if you need it.
Yeah.
And don't be Superman. Go to get some therapy if you need it.
Every Superman got kryptonite, so nobody's perfect. Yeah, you can try to be Superman, but know your weakness, and attack it. And my weakness is not getting help when I need it. My perception of therapy was when I watched Looney Tunes and there was some crazy dude laying in the chair and the therapist was sitting there with a notebook, you know. So my perception of therapy was wrong my whole life.
Yeah. From what I understand, it's kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it is.
I've never been to it. Have you?
No, never. I've read about it. I've heard about it. I'm just like, I'm going to do it. My son did it and he liked it, but his counsel was kind of boring. He said, I need a real counsel. I need somebody not reading out a book. I need somebody to sit me down and say, what's up? What's going on? What do you want to get off your chest? Because it's easier to talk to a stranger than it is somebody you know. Because when somebody you know, you're afraid of their reaction. But when someone's a stranger, it's like, what do you want to do? So I can tell you whatever I need. I'm not worried about your reaction. I mean, it's just weird. That's not everybody. That's for me.
I get it.
I can talk to a therapist, but I won't talk to my mom. Because I don't want to know, you know what I mean? So
yeah, well, you might not expect to be around a therapist for the rest of your life.
Yeah, definitely.
When you might hope to be around your family members for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life.
So what do you really want to share with those people that are closest to you that you think is maybe even, you ever think, man, I really don't want to share that with my family because they might think it's ridiculous?
So it took me forever to talk about this without shedding tears, but I was sexually assaulted as a 12-year-old by my uncle. And I went to a men's conference and I finally just, it was actually, I was doing a little bit of stand-up and laughing and something in my heart told me to talk. This was a room full of people who were doing mentally bad and like going through something. And I'm like, they looking at me on the stage like I'm just Mr. Perfect. And I said, hey, anybody out there having a hard time with life right now, let me let you know you can make it. And I told my story. It was the first time I ever told it, and I cried backstage. And while I was crying, I got up and, you know, they saw me as a big fighter, had my belts all laid out and pictures and videos, and they see me knocking people out. And this guy comes up to me and told me, he said, hey man, you're the first person I ever told in my life. And I said, dang, you know. So I went on social media and did the same thing. And then my inbox was just full of men going, hey man, thanks for sharing that. I didn't know that happened to you. I'm sorry, but it happened to me too. And I can deal with it better now because of you. And I felt great when I did that. Like I was an outlet for others. You know, I don't want to say it was a monkey on my back, but definitely goes back to that little corner you talked about in the dark. You never know what somebody's going through or been through. You know, don't mess with people. So it helps me not bother people because I'm like, stuff bothers me. So, but my whole motto in life is surround yourself with people you want to be like. I live by those words, you know, and that's pretty much what I do.
How do you help those people that you don't want to be like? If you're only surrounded by the people that you don't want to be like.
What I tell people is this: don't ever think you're better than anyone. Excuse me. Don't say I'm better than you. I'm better, or even put that in your head. Is you make better decisions. So I can't make anyone whatever I think they should be. I like helping people make better decisions because that's what it all is. Life is about choices, you know. And I want to help them make better choices, whatever it is. I got a friend that works at Walmart, the happiest guy in the world, loves every second of it. He could probably go get a big job. You know, people make fun of you for working in certain places, but he's happy. He's happy. Leave him alone. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just want to help people make better decisions in life. That's my goal as a coach, as a teacher, as a parent. Hey, please just make the right decision because, you know, you know.
The ones that you can live with long term.
Yeah. Well, a bad decision could be the end. You know, you decide to go to this party when you're supposed to stay home, and boom, something happens. You decide to do drugs instead of listening to your parents and stay away from drugs. Now you overdose. You know, I lost another brother to a.
Or you do bad behavior and something costs you the rest of your life in prison or something like that.
I had a brother 2 years ago. Fentanyl killed him. So it's like.
They say that's not uncommon.
Oh, not at all. I mean, it's instant.
Get a drug and you expect certain things, but you're buying it from a drug dealer, right?
Yep.
So why should you expect anything to be exactly right if you're buying something off the street from somebody you don't even know, and then surprise, fentanyl in it?
Yeah. So that's funny you said that, surprise, because some people think they're smoking something else or doing something else, and then boom, they're gone. So
yeah, they say it's not uncommon to have fentanyl-laced drugs
and it's
now.
instant too. So won't go into detail, but you can tell when someone's life was taken away by it. So, but yeah, lots of adversity. But I smile because, like I said, God will never give you more than you can handle. There's going to be a brighter day. There's going to be something there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And I've heard that in my whole life. And I didn't get it when I was younger, but I do now, that you can be in complete darkness, but there is light at the end of the tunnel,
Hopefully it's not a train coming at you.
Yeah, you might want to turn around. Just keep your head up, keep moving forward, and, definitely look for better days.
Yeah. You say that the teenage girl that committed suicide happened about a week and a half ago?
Yeah. It was, I want to say, maybe 9-10 days ago when she passed. So, but that one hurt us. It hurt us. We were talking, laughing all day. And then next time I saw her, she was in a body bag. So I didn't expect that when I went over there. But I didn't sleep for about 2 days. I just stayed in my gym and worked on it. I like to renovate. I'm OCD, and I like to change stuff around. So I just literally redesigned my gym. She was on my mind heavy. I've seen death, I've dealt with death, but I've never seen a child in a body bag. And that really just, my heart. And I was like, if I'm hurting this bad, I know they're hurting 10 times worse. So that was tough, man. That was tough.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. Sorry that it happened.
Yeah. And my girls are rallying together. They're together right now. And they're staying together, and they're going to go wrestle together, and they're going to cut weight together. And you got sisters that ain't blood, My stepdaughter wrote me a beautiful letter yesterday. And it was really about how I stepped up, as a dad. Not by blood, but she said, you're my dad. When I walk down the aisle, when I get married, you're going to be the one to hand me out too. So, you have family that it doesn't have to be blood,
Yeah. Well, Gerald, thanks for coming in today.
I appreciate you having me, man.
I hope that you find a therapist that works for you.
That's my main goal. And for anybody listening, therapy isn't about being crazy, because that was my assumption, literally.
Too proud to go to therapy because ain't nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong. I can handle it.
Yeah.
And like I said, God won't give you more than you can handle. He gave you therapy. He gave you
to help you handle it.
Thank you. Yes. No different than inventing the wheel. You don't got to walk now. We got wheels. You can ride a bike. You can drive. So we have that tool of people who can take all that grief and help you.
And they're trained. They've got certain schooling and ways of doing it to help you unlock your way back to peace.
Utilize your resources. That's what I tell people. So utilize your resources.
Thanks, Gerald.
Thank you. That was
We are here to help you discover or develop your passions, how you can use them, and why you exist. How can we help you help others better?